Hey everyone, and welcome to the Dice Tower. I'm Camilla.
I'm Joey Evans.
And today we're going to be looking at a new game in the Micro Macro series.
Ooh.
This is going to be a kids version of the game.
What?
I know, specifically for kids.
For kids.
So a couple things off the bat. You will notice that it looks exactly the same other than saying kids, and it is very, very similar. But the cases are brought down to a little more family-friendly level. The first four in the series had murder and adultery, things like that, which if that was a little bit too hot topic, I guess, for your children, perhaps this is for you.
Yeah. Yeah, and it wasn't a problem so much for me. I'm just kidding. No. we did kind of skip through those.
Yeah, right. So before we go into too much of those differences, though, and what this one brings to the table, let's do a brief overview of how it plays. And here we have all the components that are going to come in the box for Micro Macro Kids. If you are familiar with this series at all, then immediately you're going to notice a couple differences. First of all, you'll see that we're missing all the little case books that are going to have the individual cases. They used to be on cards. For Micro Macro Kids, they're introducing the spiral bound book here for the different cases. So it's going to open up, has all the cases and their difficulty listed on the front pages. When you choose one you want to do, you're just going to go to that page number and then begin the case. The other thing you're going to notice are these big green markers that come in here to help you kind of annotate or track your progress as you go through the city, kind of annotate specific events or occurrences that you need to remember where they were. But if you want to get started, you will just take these out of the box. You need to choose a lead investigator. That person is going to be in charge of looking to see if you have the correct position or if you found the right thing that you need to, if you're on the right track, I guess, in your case investigation. That person takes the book. You choose a case. In this case, we're going to look at the helmet specifically because that is the introductory one. And so I don't want to have too many spoilers, but you'll look here at the helmet. So you'll turn to page 1. And then you begin by reading the page. Once you read the introduction on the left side of the page, then you're going to look on the right side of the page here, or right side of the book, I should say, in order to find any task. The task will be outlined in blue here, and it tells you when you turn the page to see if you've completed it. So you're trying to find Fernando by the beach. It's going to give us a little hint over here of what he looks like, so we're going to turn to our big map and look for him. Once you find anything relevant, then you can take one of these markers and mark it. In this case, he's down here. Can't quite see. In this case, it does hint that he's down on the beach, and so he's here. When we find him, we would just simply put this over to mark we found him. The lead investigator then can take a look at the book, turn the page, and see if you are correct. In this case, you are correct. So we get our next task. And this is what you're going to do. You're just going to keep going through the town here, marking these different places. At some point, you're going to have to kind of track them through the town, as this is something that happens over the course of time in the town. So for example, if we're looking back down here with Fernando again, we would see that he's facing this way. So we kind of track him back down. Oop, he came from over here. And we can keep tracing him backwards until we, again, answer any of the questions or the tasks that the book has us do. You're going to keep going through that until you reach the resolution at the end and answer any questions. At that case, you have solved the mystery and you are ready to go on to a new case. All right, so I don't know if you can see in the camera the overview there. The first thing that I noticed, well, outside the disc in the book that I talked about in the overview, was also the map size.
Yes.
So I felt like it was a little bit smaller when I was playing, but I went ahead and pulled out the old one just to see, and it is exactly half the size.
It is, and that's a big thing. It's like, that's going to be... People are going to love or hate it, right? Mm-hmm. At first, I like the big map size because also everything's the same size as far as the figures and stuff. They haven't gotten smaller.
Correct. The artwork is the same scale.
Yes, because you put it back next to it. But the whole thing is it'll now fit on a table more comfortably because before we used to kind of fold it out, my daughter and I, and we would do it on the floor and kind of crawl around, which honestly was kind of fun. You're like, what's on your side? What's on your side? And you look and do that. This is more manageable, but I'm half and half on that. I do miss the bigger map.
I feel like it being more manageable, though, it means that the kids can be more involved in the solving. Because like you said, what's going on your side? Do you see him over there? In this one, they can see the whole map more available so that they can actually track through time the different characters and that kind of stuff. So I feel like it allows them to play a bigger part in the cases.
I agree.
Speaking of that, what did you think about the book? The cases going to the book rather than the cards?
I think... You're not gonna. I don't think I like it.
I do like it. My son did not. He very much was opposed to it.
It's weird because I saw the book. I thought perfect. There's nothing to lose. It's all in one place. But my daughter, again, didn't like it either because it's like after we finish one, the fun thing is just to grab those packets and look through, oh, which one? Well, this is a 4-star. It's pretty fun. And you each have your own packets to look through. And it's more of a team thing picking that case when instead now it's one person thumbing through. And
Which you can still pass the book around, in fairness. Yeah, you can still pass it around. But I was like that. I think for a kid's game, it's well suited because you're not going to have the lost pieces. You're not going to have cards that get out of order. You're not going to have ones get mixed up because, if you give a kid 5 envelopes, they're going to open all of them and put them in one pile. Then you're like, oh, that's not how that went, And so I think it kind of makes it a little more foolproof to make sure you're going through right. It also did help them to put hints in there as well. On kind of those sticky ones. So I'm half and half. Like I said, I liked it. I appreciated kind of the streamlined nature of it, but I can definitely see the drawbacks. And my son, who also played the micro macro ones, was very much not a fan. The last difference I think, is the discs it comes with, which I think is a fantastic addition. It's something I already did in the old ones. I just had cubes, from whatever game on my shelf I'd pull off, and I would use cubes to do it. So to include it was a no-brainer, I think.
I did not do that.
No.
And it just changed my entire gaming experience. Like at one point, it's funny how you don't try to go through all these spoilers, right?
Yeah.
But you're following somebody, and before I follow them, I'm like, okay, go through and you're like, wait, where did he come from? But now I'm just like, bam, 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 bam. And it just makes it, as you follow a guy through the city, I love that.
Right.
It's like you have a pin board, of those big detective things.
Uh-huh.
It feels really good.
Right, and the kids get excited when they get to put one down, right?
Yes.
Like, oh, here he is, and they get to put it down. There's more than enough included. I never found a shortage of them, because once you go past, you can always repurpose them if you do use all of them.
Right.
I thought that they were fantastic, and coming from someone that used cubes, having it clear where you can still kind of see through it, so it almost just highlights the board, I thought was fantastic. Absolutely
it was so good.
Yeah.
And there were a couple of things in here that I did like as far as the cases. Again, not to go into details, but some of them became less of a Where's Waldo thing, because that's what a lot of them are, like, let's find him over here. Oh, look, here's his hat, whatever. But this one is, once you find him, it'll tell you, find how many of these are there. And there are clues in the scene. Makes it more of a detective rather than just a big Where's Waldo puzzle.
Right, and it's also not just figure out what happened. There's some cases which are also figure out the effects of what happened.
Yes.
So if somebody was poisoned, for example, how many other people were affected?
Right.
And so you really it kind of broadens, I guess, the scope of the different cases. They feel a little wider, a little more dynamic, I guess. And I really appreciate that. I thought the cases were well done and well rated. One drawback is I do feel like the harder cases, the 4- and 5-star cases, sometimes they're not necessarily harder, but it is pretty closely tied to time.
Yes.
So the harder cases, the 4 and 5, take closer to 30, maybe even 45 minutes, whereas the lower ones are like 15-minute puzzles, is what I found.
Right.
What about you? Because you played with a kid younger than mine. I have a 12-year-old and you have an 8-year-old.
Yeah. But really, again, nothing was overly difficult. We did one that was about 4, and it was just... You're right. She could figure out all of them. Yeah. But they do kind of drag out. There's more stuff to find.
Right.
You use more of those little chits going around,
which
is nice because then you can kind of time it. We have time for a quick one, and you'll do a shorter 2-star one or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else before we jump into final thoughts
nope,
here?
that is it.
Why don't you take it away?
All right. So I am coming out. I like micro macro a lot, and this kids version. Honestly, the other one I would pick and choose the ones I'd use. I'd still play it with my kids, but there were some that you had to avoid. This you don't have to avoid. I'm coming in at a 7.5 on this.
Okay.
So I do like it a lot because if you're looking for an activity with your kid, this is perfect. And again, I'm torn on the size of the map and the book, but honestly, I do know this is a better choice. This is a better sized mat you can play on your table, and honestly, the book is a better choice too. I do like the cards, but this book will get lost less. You're right. It'll get out of order less. This is a better choice for playing with the family. So yeah,
Nice. Okay. I'm coming in higher. I'm coming in at 8.5. I am a fan of Micro Macro already, and I think this kids version is a fantastic younger family addition to the line there. Yeah. I think it's exactly, I like that they went with kids and not family version because it does scale, I think, younger. My 12-year-old, we still had fun with it. We did multiple of these, but whereas when we played Micro Macro, he wanted to go through 7, 8, 9 cases. I mean, it became like a 2.5 hour thing that he was just wanting to keep going. This one we did 1 or 2 and he was good to put it away, happy to come back. But I think it's because the cases are a little bit more simple.
Yeah.
And he just wanted to solve the puzzle and move on. You know,
right,
he didn't want to be like, I don't care about all the after effects and this and that. I already know. Give me the next mystery. You know, so it was a little, it does scale a little bit young in that. But I think it is a fantastic iteration if that is your kind of family scope, or I guess your family situation is those younger kids, probably 10 and under. This is a fantastic jumping on point for Micro Macro. And honestly is the one that I would always give as a gift. If I was giving it to a family, this is the one that I would use for a Christmas gift or, you know, birthday, whatever it may be. I think this is a fantastic starting point if it's going to be a family activity.
And I can't oversell how important those little discs are, dropping those down.
Right.
Just for, I mean, the way it looks, it's so good.
Yeah, I hope they go and like sell just those at some point.
I agree.
That way you can add them to your old ones. So anyway.
Good.
All right, well, that's going to do it for Micro Macro Kids. This one is Crazy City Park. Thanks for joining us here. I'm Camilla.
I'm Joey.
And we'll see you later.
Solving mysteries.
Hey folks, thanks for watching another one of our videos. If you like our videos, if you like our channel, you would love to game with us at one of our conventions. Check out Dice Tower Cruise, Dice Tower East, and Dice Tower West. Fantastic conventions where we play games with wonderful people, a humongous library, and lots of other events and stuff. Also, don't forget to check out our channel, like and subscribe. I'm Tom Bassel.